Next question says, Assalamu alaikum. Can a woman go to the Jumu'ah prayer on Friday while she is on her menses? Then he puts three numbers. Says number one, can she sit in the back of the mosque? Number two, step aside when the prayer starts out of the way. Number three, they use the hadith, a Muslim is never defiled. We say that this issue is a well-known issue among the people of knowledge. And once again, just like many other issues, there is khilaf. There is difference of opinion among the fuqaha. One opinion states that when a woman is on her menstrual cycle, she is not allowed to attend the masjid. She's not to go pray Jumu'ah. She is not to sit in the musalla. She is not to enter Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's house and sit down when she is on her menstrual cycle, or when she has post or prenatal bleeding. That is one opinion of the fuqaha. Another opinion is that women are allowed to sit in the masjid, to enter the masjid, to do anything else in the masjid besides actual prayer and besides fasting when she's on her menstrual cycle. The first group of ulama, they use many proofs and evidences. From the strongest of their evidences, not the most authentic of them, but from the strongest, is the hadith in which the Messenger of Allah is quoted to have said that I do not make the masjid lawful for a man in sexual defilement, junub, or a woman who's mincing. أو بهذا المعنى, like this. This hadith is collected by Imam Abu Dawood from the hadith of Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha, if my memory serves me correctly. The hadith, is chain of narration, if I can remember correctly, is da'if, is weak. There is an unknown narrator in this chain of narration, in this isnad. That hadith is not sahih. If the hadith was authentic, then it would be text supporting their argument. They have other hadith that are authentic in Bukhari and Muslim, and outside of Bukhari and Muslim. From them is the hadith of Aisha radiallahu anha, in which she gave the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam something when he was making i'tikaf, in which he combed his hair when he was making i'tikaf, in which she was afraid to pass it to him. And the Messenger of Allah sallallahu he says, Inna haydataki laysat fi yadaki. He says, your mince is not in your hand. In other words, it was known to Aisha that she wasn't allowed to go near the masjid, and her hand was not allowed to go through the window of the masjid or anything like this because she was mincing. And the Prophet ﷺ clarified to her that your mince is not in your hand. Alright, this is an authentic hadith, and they say this proves that a woman is not to enter the masjid when she's mincing. It's not the most frank hadith, it's not the most direct, clear cut to the point hadith, but it is more authentic than the first hadith. Another evidence that they use is the hadith of Umayyah radiallahu anha, that's also collected in the Sahih, in which she mentions that we were commanded to go out to the Eid prayer, to take everybody to the Eid prayer, the young virgin girl, the older woman, even the mincing woman. And the hadith says, فَأَمَّا الْحُيَّطِ, he says, as for the mincing women, فَيَعْتَزِلْنَا الْمُصَلَّى, they said they would stay away from the prayer area. Everybody will go out. In other words, the women that would normally stay in the house, everyone was ordered to go to the Eid prayer. So they said this proves that a mincing woman is not to be in the musalla. And the musalla of the Prophet ﷺ, when he made the Eid prayer, was outside, not in the masjid. So if she's to stay away from the musalla outside, let alone inside of the masjid. And there are other proofs and evidences that they use. Khayran, inshaAllah. The second group of ulama, they use several ahadith which are authentic, and some of them are clear and frank. From them is the hadith they mention, the questioner, that a Muslim, إِنَّ الْمُسْلِمَ لَا يَنْجُسْ, that a believing man or woman is never filthy. Another proof that they use, they say there's no authentic proof stating that she can't go. And the proof that's used is either da'if or it is possible. وَإِذَا تَتَرَكَ الْإِحْتِمَالُ بَاطِلَ الْإِسْتِدْلَالِ. And as ulama, they say when there's a chance, when there's reasonable doubt, they says that then there's no proof to be used from this text when it could go both ways. They also use the hadith about the woman who lived in the masjid, okay, during the time of the Prophet ﷺ, and she had a tent in the masjid. And they said, how could a woman stay in the masjid for some considerable time and not mince without the Prophet ﷺ knowing that she was in the masjid? Another evidence that they use is the hadith of the woman who used to sweep the masjid. Okay, this and all these hadith are in Sahih. Okay, Bukhari and Muslim. That this woman used to sweep the masjid during the time of the Prophet ﷺ, and when she died, the companions didn't tell the Prophet ﷺ about her death. And as if he became angry because they scorned her. She wasn't a woman with prestige. He says, why didn't you tell me about Fulana dying? Alright, and he went to her grave and he offered the prayer, the janazah there at her grave. And he said that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will allow these graves to be illuminated and to be lit up with my prayer that I make for them. So therefore, they say that if she was in the masjid sweeping, then there's a very big possibility that she had a miss in the masjid. And the hadith doesn't specify when she did or did not sweep and clean the masjid. And there are other ahadith that they use to prove that the asl, the original ruling, is that a woman is allowed to enter to the masjid. They used to pray during the time of Prophet ﷺ. They used to go sit and learn from the Messenger of Allah. And there's no specific hadith stating when they did and did not come. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best. So therefore, there's a difference of opinion among the ulama. There are different views. The first opinion was adopted by the jumhur, the majority of the ulama, and the second opinion was adopted by many other brilliant scholars. At the end of the day, whether this opinion or that, no matter what the person does, they will have a salaf, a predecessor, someone from the ulama who preceded them in this opinion or that opinion. So it's not like something they're bringing that's strange from themselves. Secondly, it's unnecessary to fight and to argue and to bicker over the likes of these issues. It's unnecessary. Thirdly, if the masjid has a policy, then that's one thing. However, no person should force their opinion on the next. You can't go to the masjid, it's haram because I read this and because so, la akhi, la ukhti. It's difference of opinion. It is unnecessary for you to force your opinion upon the next man. As we have stated in several classes and several lectures and several Q&As. And this is not from the way of the ulama, it's not from the way of the people of the sunnah, the people of hadith, that they force their views upon others. If there's considerable khilaf, if there is dalil on both sides, ulama on both sides, then it is not right. It is improper for you to throw your view down the next man's throat. That is the path of the ignorant people. That is the sabil al-jahilin. And وَمَا أَكْثَرَ الْجَاهِلِينَ. How many jahil people are there today who claim knowledge, and who claim hadith, and who claim they follow the ulama and they follow the salaf, but they're people of jahl. They're people of ignorance. And that is not the way of the people who have knowledge. The learned people don't force their views upon others unless there is consensus in the issue. Unless the difference of opinion is da'if, is weak. Unless it's very shadh, it's weird. Okay? Weird, controversial issue. But when there's valid khilaf, they don't force their views upon others. So therefore, it's unnecessary for the Muslims to fight. If you want your wife to go, that's one thing. If the sister wants to go, that's one thing. No one can force the other view upon the next.